We're just missing Marty. See, Marty's on, but he's not in his chair.
Oh, why did I do that?
So what do I do when there's an empty seat?
He doesn't want to hear anybody complain that we don't have any surgical masks.
Okay, I'm gonna
dial him.
Okay.
Hi, Marty. You want to go sit in front of your computer so we can start the meeting?
I will do that.
Thank you.
There wasn't anybody there the last time I was.
Well, it's 6:31 and we're waiting on you.
Okay.
All right, bye. Well, I guess I can call this meeting to order May 19th, 2020 at 6:31 p.m. We can do a moment of silence while we're waiting for Marty, for Anthony Stutka Jr. and a Timothy Holka. And if Marty's made it to his seat, there he is. Jenny, you want to do roll call, please?
Scott,
Here.
Ben,
Here.
Marty,
Here.
Paula,
here.
Matt,
Here.
Dave.
Here.
Okay, moving on to the minutes. The April 21st regular council meeting minutes. Any amendments to that? Motion to approve?
Wait, I had something. Wait, just a moment.
Oh, you weren't quick enough.
On page 4, it was just, I think something just needs clarified. On page 4 under correspondence.
Huh.
So there's that second standalone paragraph that says there was also a letter from Chelsea Gregor.
Yes.
And then the next paragraph starts with, she wanted to let us know that she spoke with, it makes it sound as if
The letter, okay.
she is Chelsea Gregor, which
Yep.
she is you.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
change that.
So
That was me that spoke with.
yeah, the next two paragraphs that both start with she wanted to let us know, it almost implies that we're talking about Chelsea. So we just want to say the mayor wanted to let us know rather than she. Fine. And then one more thing on page 6 under the top one about order to increase the monthly fixed water capital improvement charge. The first bullet point where it says Paula moved to amend section 2, moving from 32 to 22. It just says at the end, all voted. It doesn't say all voted yes.
Okay.
Didn't have to. We all voted yes on the next.
Yeah. So
Okay, I can
that's,
fix that.
those are the two things I saw.
Okay.
I thought Ben voted no. Or was that something else?
That was something else.
That was something else.
Okay. Anything
That's all I
else,
had.
Dave? That's it?
That's all I had, yeah.
You want to make a motion to amend those 4 things?
Yes, motion to amend as per my notes.
Second,
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Paula,
yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes,
Motion to approve is amended.
so moved.
Second.
Matt,
Yes.
I didn't hear Matt.
He said yes.
Okay,
He's
Paula,
muted.
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Okay. Regular or special council meeting minutes from April 30th at 6 PM. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Dave,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Matt, Ben,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
I'm having trouble hearing Matt. Is he muted?
I can't hear him at all.
I can't either.
Of course, we know I'm hard of hearing, so tell him to speak up.
Matt, can you speak up when he answers, please? Okay, special council budget workshop minutes from May 13th at 5:30. Everybody got the revised copy today? Were there any other changes? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Marty,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, there you go. Yeah, am I
Paula?
clear and loud now? And I'm having technical difficulties here. Am I good?
You're
Yeah,
great.
I can see you
Okay,
now.
all right, cool, thank you.
Paula,
Yes. Yes, Jenny.
Scott,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Okay. Mayor's report, just to let everybody know, special events that have been canceled. Soapbox Derby has been canceled for this year. It was in June. Art on the Hill and Headwaters Adventure Race for July 12th has been canceled.
Hmm. Okay.
According to the little newspaper article, if anybody read it, as of May 21st, there's going to be inside service at restaurants, plus carryouts, campgrounds, gyms and fitness centers are going to be open. Non-contact sports, I did speak with both the ball league, the softball league, and the baseball league. They're going to let me know by the end of the week if they're going to have short seasons or not. So that brings the question, are we going to leave the lodge and the playgrounds and pavilions closed for the time being? When do you want?
Say that last part again, Nanda.
I'm sorry,
Say that last part again.
I said, because of all the things that the governor is opening up, do we still want to leave the lodge and the playground and pavilion closed? For the,
If they close the lodge,
it's been closed
well, I
and the playgrounds are closed.
let it remain closed, I think. But we can open up the park. There's enough room for everyone to be far enough away. My opinion.
So parks and pavilion
Yeah,
or playground, I'm sorry, playground and pavilion.
playground.
Are playgrounds generally remaining closed for the most part?
It wasn't on the list of things that were opening up.
Hmm.
Day camps are open. Campgrounds are open.
Okay.
As of next week.
Well, then I don't know why a playground wouldn't be open too.
I think the
Because they
playgrounds
have
are
to-
still
somebody has to
closed.
go and sanitize them.
Right.
What'd you say, Michelle?
I said, I think the playgrounds are still closed. I'm looking at the order right now and
Okay.
a long paragraph. And
Campgrounds are open only if you're self-contained and you're not allowed to have visitors. So it's only the family going in, no more than 10. So that's the last I knew on campgrounds.
playgrounds remain closed. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then we stay closed.
I guess, so we might, that means we have to leave the park closed. You can't have a pavilion
Right.
open and not
It
let them.
doesn't say, the parks aren't closed, playgrounds are closed. I know it's a fine distinction, but, okay.
But how could we let a family have a picnic at a pavilion and kids not go to the playground?
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Right.
Well, if we have to leave the playground closed, I prefer the whole park being closed.
I agree.
Fine.
Well, I guess we don't need a motion because it's already closed already, so we can move on.
Moving on.
Okay, just so everybody knows, we sent out letters to all the property owners and the renters about the water and sewer increase that take effect at the end of the month, and included in that letter the revised 2018 water quality control report. And that's all I have for right now. Any citizens? Okay, Jenny, financial reports?
Okay. The sewer line repair project required a $20,000 advance from the general fund to the sewer operating fund. And the finance committee recommends repaying the advance in 4 monthly payments, $5,000 each. So there's legislation tonight for that. Rita is estimating a 10% reduction for us in income tax this year compared to last year. Right now, tax revenues through April were down a little bit closer to 20%, but I think that's just because the extension
Right,
today is July 15th. So
right.
local government funds are down right now just about 30%, and gas taxes up 60%. That's basically the taxes. Payments were kind of heavy in April because we had the sewer project, that Workman company, that was close to 70,000. The water and sewer, the UAN, and the bank are still out of balance. I was able to identify that the discrepancy is in the credit card fees, but we're not sure at this time how to fix it or why we're being charged extra. And there were no adjustments on the bank reconciliation. Regarding the 2021 budget, a few changes were recommended at our workshop last week that you'll be voting on later. I would also like to remind everyone that we will have our required public hearing for the 2021 budget at 6:15, just before the June council meeting. And that's all I have.
Motion to approve the financial reports?
So moved.
Paula,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes,
Matt, Marty.
Yes,
Correspondence?
I don't have any.
Neither do I. Bills of resolution and addendum bills of resolution, please. Any discussion? Motion to approve?
So moved.
second,
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
yes,
Dave, Scott,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Matt.
Okay, moving on to legislation. Excuse me.
did Dave and Max vote? I didn't hear either one.
I couldn't hear them, but I saw their mouths.
you can't hear me?
I can hear you
Oh,
now,
yeah, okay,
but I didn't hear you vote.
okay.
What about a quick mic
Yes.
check? Can you hear me?
Not very well, Matt.
Oh, okay.
Okay, ready to move on to legislation?
Let's go.
Okay, ordinance, excuse me, 2020-20, an ordinance approving and adopting a permanent budget for 2021 for the village of Mantua after publication and public budget hearing pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 5705.30, open for discussion. As Jenny said, we had the meeting on the 13th, and we had discussed some changes, one being, I hope I have all these, so bear with me. Jenny, let me know if I leave something off. Under consumer rent in sewer operating, we're going to change that from 525,000 to 705,000. That changes the total operating for sewer revenues to 762,800. In water capital improvement, $120,000 additional appropriations. Is that correct? And change the total revenue to 130,500?
Yes.
Any other changes that anyone saw that were not discussed?
Let's see, the expenditures for 5761, did you say that? Water capital improvements to 100,000?
I'm sorry, no, I missed that one.
Okay. Because we're going to zero out the meters, since that could be a capital improvement, the new meter project.
Okay,
And that just changed the numbers, but I can send everybody a clean copy with all the changes before the next meeting.
okay, would someone like to make a motion to amend the 2021 budget paperwork?
So moved.
Second,
Dave,
yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Matt, Ben,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Ordinance 2020-22, an ordinance retroactively confirming Eric Dunn as a full-time officer of the Mantua Police Department effective March 25th, 2020, and declaring an emergency. Any discussion?
I just got a question for the chief. Is this his salary coming out of your budget, chief?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine. Good.
Any other discussion?
I have no more.
Would someone entertain a motion to suspend the rules?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Dave,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Marty,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Moving on to ordinance 2020-23, an ordinance authorizing an advance repayment from the sewer operating fund 5201 to the general fund 1000. Any discussion? This is to repay back the $20,000 Jenny had to advance. And thank goodness we only had to do 20,000 instead of the 50,000. That was a good thing. Any other discussion? Motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
Paula,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Marty.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, resolution 2020-24, resolution accepting Netco Water of Cincinnati's bids of $167,174.99 plus financing for the 2020 water meter installation project, authorizing the village administrator and clerk treasurer of the village of Mantua to enter into a contract for this project and declaring an emergency. Open for discussion.
You know, it's a little late to say this, but I think we didn't vote to approve that last one, just to suspend the rules.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. On 2023?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Jenny. I will step back. Since we did a motion to suspend the rules, motion to approve 2020-23.
So moved.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, resolution 2020-24, resolution accepting the Netco Water of Cincinnati's bid of $167,174.99 plus financing for the 2020 water meter installation project, authorizing the village administrator and clerk treasurer of the village of Mantua to enter into a contract for the project and declaring an emergency. Any discussion?
In section 1 of the first page, it is referencing 3.17% for a period of blank years. Do we need to have a specified number of years there?
Yes, you do. You need to pick the years.
Okay, and I think the company had said that if we manage to prepay, there's no penalty, correct? So if we went and accepted it for 3 years, or what was the discussion on that? How long?
Okay, let me, excuse me, Paula. For
No.
3 years, the annual payment was $69,865.65 a year.
Okay,
For 5 years, the payment annually would be $43,220.17 annually. For 7 years, it was $31,819.19.
Can I just say something? I think what they submitted was a payment based on a financing of a total amount of $200,000, and we don't know that we're going to have to finance that much. So those payments would be considerably different, wouldn't they?
Yes.
So I think we're just authorizing, if it passes, we're authorizing the bid amount plus 10% for contingencies, which is only 180, I don't know, 167, about 180 something. I just wanted to bring that up so that, you know, you didn't proceed based on that exact annual payment amount.
Gotcha.
okay, so
I would think if there's no penalty for paying it off early, that we do it for 5 years, just in case things fall a little further south, but that's just my opinion with the economy.
And Mayor, may I interject too? Remember, your payments don't start until all the meters are in or 6 months afterwards. So we have quite a ways until we even make the first payment on that. So that's something to be aware of. And then we're into the next fiscal year already. Plus we have the November vote also.
So what are you recommending, Jen? What's your gut feeling?
I concur with the mayor. I'd be even a little more conservative and go with the 7-year even. I know we probably could pay a little of that down, but that way this year we don't take hardly any of the hit in that going with that. And like I said, if it gets economy picks up and we prove that this makes us more money, then we could pay it off early. But we just make that first payment, for this year, that may be the only payment we ever have to make.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But that's, entirely up to you guys.
You just said something interesting. We proved that it makes us more money. Do we have even any sort of guesstimate as to what to expect?
Yes, our revenues right now, because of up and down in the estimates and so forth, we could expect a 10% possibly increase because the reads will be accurate. Plus the constituent side, if there's a leak or anything, it's determined right away. There's hourly reads taken and they come back. You'll be able to tell when there's a read. It'll save the consumer money too. So it's more accurate. And as we know, as meters go long, they don't get faster, they get slower. So we're losing a lot of revenue now on accurate reads. And this will be accurate reads, all new meters. The system will be up to date, and both on the consumer side and on our side, accuracy will be there.
Okay.
And a little bit of labor.
Right.
I mean, we'll be saving a little bit in labor.
Yeah, the 3 days a month they won't have to read or anything like that. That's correct.
Right.
That frees the guys up to do other projects.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Mayor, if I may, just for council's information, you might recall that my rate analysis included a 3-year payback for $225,000 at 3%. Just so that was before you did the rate increase. The ability of the water fund to afford that. The second point I respectfully make is you have huge debt on the water side, if you recall, on the identified needs in the 7 million, somewhere in there, $7 million range. As John pointed out, the sooner you get these in, the better revenue should be improved. However, extending the debt, knowing you've got, and this is to me, it's a small project compared to what you've got to do. I get that debt out of the way as soon as you can. That's just points I'll make for your information.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions, if I may.
Speak up, man.
What is the difference between the two quotes here? One's got the 167 amount and the other one's got the 192 amount.
Let me clarify that. The 192 is not a good bid. They were not responsive. They did not include the meters, the RF transmitters, and the product so we could read the meters. That was not included in their bid. They bid 0 on that, so that's a non-responsive bid. We wanted the total package. They only bid the meters that are made in Israel. This other company bid everything made in the United States and also the RF transmitters and total package of installation. The other company did not, so I'm not recommending that at all.
Yeah, understood. And then on the 167 quote, there's that $3,000 annual subscription fee. Is that cheap?
That's for the cloud-based and to make it so it'll work also if the county would ever take it over, it works with the county also.
Yeah.
So that's what that is.
Yeah. So what's, just out of curiosity, what is the annual, I guess, expense to run the system that's in place now?
The system now, we can't read probably 50% of it.
Okay.
And we do everything's hand.
Thinking out loud, it's $3,000 a year. That's just me.
Yeah, and right now there's labor for the guys 3 to 6 days a month, and also we read them. The guys read them, write it down, then they write it down again, come in. Then Mary Ann has to write it down. Then she has to enter the data. All that's gone. That's a chance for human error, not once but 3 times currently. This will go right from the read. Matter of fact, when you do the read, most of it will download into her computer directly. So there's no chance for human error anymore. It eliminates that.
That's cool. Maybe just a question for another time, but is there another option to that? Like, do you have to get that cloud subscription to run that software?
Yes, that's the software you have to have right now for it to interface with our current billing software.
Yeah. Okay. I think I was just referring to the platform. Like, does it have to be cloud-based or can it be installed? But that's a conversation for another time. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Would someone like to entertain, did we decide first? We're gonna go for the 7 years or the 3 years? Or 5 years?
I think Rich made some good points about keeping it at the 3-year basis and trying to get it paid off quickly. The money, whether it's from us, whether we continue to maintain it or it ends up with the county, the money is not out of our general fund, it's out of the sewer fund, which would automatically transfer to the anyways.
Water fund.
Right. So
you're making a motion to go with 3 years then, Paula?
okay, yes, I'm sorry, Mayor. I make a
That's all
motion to go with 3 years.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
No,
Marty,
Yes,
Paula,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Okay. So we've just made a motion to amend it. Motion to approve the amendment? Do we need to
So
do that?
You already did that. You just-
Okay,
Yeah. Motion
Okay.
to suspend the rules.
motion to suspend the rules as amended.
Yes, so moved.
Second.
Dave,
Yes.
Marty,
yes,
Paula,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
no,
Scott.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
second,
Second.
Marty,
yes,
Ben,
no,
Matt,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on. Chief Urso, your report.
Council, everybody. Safety Committee met on May 6th via Zoom. We had gone over all of our reports. Under old business, we discussed, we did switch to the MARC system. The fire department did as well. Everything's going well. We had a second dispatch console come in and it's in. We're having our spare checked out now. As everybody knows, all gatherings and events are pretty much on hold pending the outcome of the virus, and we'll just follow the governor's guidelines. And then under new business, upon opening of the government center, we're probably looking to put hand sanitizer stations at all 3 entrances/exits. We did hire a new part-time dispatcher, Antonio Leitner. He's currently in training, and we did have 1 dispatcher resign. We have a officer, Miranda Brothers. She's advancing in her training due to her employment at Subway and Circle K. Since everybody knows they've permanently closed Subway, her hours have been drastically cut. I'd like to get a motion from council to move her to part-time status. We've invested a lot of time and money in her. And I think we need to keep her here. She's very interested in the village. She's a lifelong Mantua resident. She has a vested interest here, and I don't want to lose her because we don't promote her, and she needs to support her child.
Yes.
So moved.
second,
Second.
Second.
Matt? Matt?
Hello, Matt.
Matt, don't fail me now.
Okay, he typed
Yeah.
in.
I got a text that he says yes.
Okay. Paula,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. That was what was recommended to council. We didn't need an executive session. Our next meeting will be on June 3rd at 6 o'clock. And if council, or if we feel by then, if somebody needs a trial to meet back in person upstairs social distancing, I would volunteer to have my meeting do that if everybody's comfortable with that, or maybe we could set up a Zoom. Be able to do a trial to try to get back to some sense of normalcy. Other than that, that's all that I have.
Okay. Thank you. And you did say it was approved by council, but you meant safety. Miranda.
Yes, I'm sorry. Safety made a motion to take to council. Correct.
Okay, anything else, Chief?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Village Administrator John True?
Yes, currently we got two bids on the trees. Former chief came in and was walking about, Harry was, and told about some trees laying across the Booker Trail. So we took one of the trees, cleared it off. Then we have two bids right now. I'm waiting on the second bid, but right now the bids look pretty good. I expected 20,000 more. They're much, much less than that. So once I get that figure, I'll bring it back to council for that figure. It will be over 3,000, but there are about 16 ash trees, 15 ash trees and a great big dead tree also. I don't know what species that is, but we'll get those taken out of there as soon as we get the bid, so they'll be safe. If not, we'd have to close the trail. It's pretty dangerous, but having the winds we've had lately and so forth, they haven't fallen, which is a good thing these days. I've been getting a lot of interest. There's two companies looking to move into Mantua, and I'm continuing to talk with them. And then also there's two houses being built, we know, in Mantua on Canada Road. So that's very good. And also on John Edwards Drive, two outside the village residents are looking at tying in, both the wells have failed. They're looking at tying in to our water line too. So we've had a lot of inquiries lately. That's good to hear about that. And a couple other buildings are starting to move and they reduce some prices. So people are just having a lot of questions on what's going on and how do I get through the permit process and so forth. So that's good to hear. And it's very uptake during this times that we have people wanting to build and also as developers that want to come into the city and follow our rules and regulations is what they're trying to do also. So the service department is working on the 16 projects. I think they've had 2 of them knocked out already. So that's good for early in the season. All this rain doesn't help, but they're still doing brush pickup every Tuesday also, cleaning off catch basins, doing their type of work. And
What were those 2 projects?
The one was the corner, what's the name, Mayor, down the street from you?
Yeah, Summerlin's, Glenwood and Grand Elm.
Yes. It was catch basins and holes, and we had to repair them and make all of them. And then also some, the inside of the garage too, that they fixed up during the winter and painted and so forth. A few hinges and things like that. That was completed too. So that's where we're at there.
Okay.
I do want to say that the garage really looks nice. They did a nice job cleaning it up, organizing it, painting it. I was impressed when I was in there.
Yes, they did a great job. And I'll tell you what, if anybody has a chance to stop down there today, please do. They did a nice job cleaning it up and little to no expense. It was, a few gallons of paint here and there and a lot of hard work and labor on the guys' part.
Yes, and it really shows. It really made a difference. Thank you.
Good.
Thank them.
That's all I have for now, unless somebody has some questions.
Nope, I don't have anything. CT Consultants.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Matt, good to meet you, albeit long distance. So you have my written report. If I may, Mayor, with your permission, could I share screen to go through a couple items? Okay. In the report last month as well, I had noted to you the information I received regarding the funding for our new storage tank to replace the reservoir. So today, I went online to see what if any updates are indicated about the funding. Council authorized the final preparation of the final design plans. At this point, we've provided the mayor and John with the, which I showed you, I believe, the rendering of the tank site plan for discussion with the property owner. The website from the Ohio Public Works Commission indicates, and I'm certain many of you probably know, the reappropriations bill from the state is uncertain until after July 1. And it's still saying, it's still indicating the possibility that still will occur, the reappropriation. Obviously, what we are hearing from the governor is the long delay, or maybe who knows when, in terms of the capital bill. But the reappropriations bill will permit OPWC to continue the funding of the projects that have already been funded. So what the advice came from OPWC is for us to routinely and regularly access the website and look for any updates. So at this point, it's not definitive. However, Linda Bailiff was fairly optimistic that reappropriations would occur at some point from the State House. So I just wanted to share that with you, Mayor and Council, relative to the report. The other item to address.
Rich, can I interrupt first?
Yes, please. Yep.
Okay, so we're on hold with the reservoir for right now, but we just received that letter and email from that Debbie Mathis from the EPA wanting to know the status. So how do we respond to the EPA when our funding has been put on hold temporarily?
Well, Mayor, I've communicated to her. Her name is Beth Mattis.
Oh, Beth.
I communicated to her just last week, as well as 2 or 3 weeks before that. So I've kept her apprised of exactly what I just told you, is that the funding for the tank is dependent upon the state fundings being released, because we're relying on $450,000 coming from the state, $300 in the form of a grant, and $150,000 0% loan. So I've kept her up to date, and I believe the last time she sent the gentleman from EnviroLink from the same thing. I replied to her and gave her an update again to remind her that council's done everything, the village has done everything you can. The plans will be, if you will, shovel ready. So we just have to make sure we got the funds to build it. So I've kept her up to date.
Okay.
The other is the phase 2. Again, Mayor, with your permission, if you want me to go through my memorandum.
Yes.
Okay. So let me share. I'll share this screen. So the phase 2 project as revised, I provided a written memorandum. Phase 2, let me do it this way. The original project cost in the original grant from ODNR is listed right here. So you'll see the grant at $34,312 based upon a cost of $45,000 and change, with a local share of $11,338. That was the original as submitted by the village, really per DMRC. the revised, once we got in there and revised the alignment for phase two, it reduced the project from 45 to 36. And ODNR Nature Works had just advised us last week that they cannot fund work within the right of way. And the work within the right of way, and I'll go back to that exhibit here, there. The work within the right of way for phase two is essentially, and you can see clearly here on our plans, existing right of way on the north side of High Street and on the south side. So there's a segment of the trail, crosswalk, and a segment here that basically links to phase three on the north side of the street. In addition to that, we had signage as well as a pedestrian actuated signal similar to the signal that we installed on Main Street for the crossing at Main Street. So they've indicated this is not eligible. So I had to take a look at the options that we had available to us. So since it wasn't eligible for phase two, the result is a significant increase in the local share from 11.3 to 18.3. And the grant, we're not using much of the grant. We're using a little more than 50% of the grant based upon the revised project. So we took a look at some options, and that's what the purpose of this review memorandum is. The first was to eliminate the pedestrian actuated signal, but retain the crossing of High Street. And then replace the pedestrian actuated signal, a non-eligible under phase two, with something that is eligible. And that would be the gravel trail running along the north line up here along the river and then south to the right of way. Essentially, the cost to get this trail built is the same as the pedestrian actuated signal. So I replaced that in the analysis here in these costs, but it doesn't, since it's relatively the same, the cost is relatively the same. It just gets the local share back to where we were originally. Because I basically replaced a ineligible item with an eligible item. But again, we're not using $10,000 worth of the grant. 24. It's a reduced project from the original 45,000 and change. So with discussions with the mayor and then subsequently with Paula, was to talk about renovation of the volleyball court. And I prepared some estimate, but you see it crossed out in front of you because I then learned that the Rotary is interested in funding the volleyball, so eliminated that alternative. So I went to option 3. Option 3 maintains the trail from the end of phase 1 to the south side and includes the gravel trail and adds an allowance of refurbishing at $500 a pop, 12 park benches. But it retains the crossing of High Street, which you recall, the crossing of High Street is an ineligible item, but we took out the signal. So when we go back again, and I know this is a lot throw at you here. So the pavement, the trail, this is ineligible. The crosswalk is ineligible. That's about $3,500 by estimate to build the work within the right of way, if you think about 3,500. So if we go back to the estimate, including the park benches, we've now still under the original project budget, which again was 45,000. We've increased our more usage of the grant, and we have a slight increase in local share, but that is based upon this. You don't have to do 12 benches. You could do 10, you could do, and who knows, or you can just replace them in its entirety. So you have some flexibility there because again, that's an eligible, it should be an eligible item. I qualify that because I wanted to review this with council before talking to Tim Robinson with ODNR, who I've scheduled a call with him tomorrow. I then looked at trying to utilize more of the grant and seeing what we could do on the trail. And I added this little segment of asphalt trail up here to kind of get us out of the wooded area and connect to this gravel parking lot. Again, when you look at the costs, it's still higher than the local share is still up about $2,400. But that maintained the reason it's up is because I maintained the crossing across High Street. If I took that out, that's option 4. So this eliminated all the work in High Street. You end up having this trail terminate here at the south part of the right of way, and then we put this in phase 3, the future phase of work. In speaking with ODNR, they will allow us to revise our phase 3 application to include this because it's eligible under that program, but not where we got these funds from. So I know it's kind of a cluster, but what this does by eliminating all the work in the High Street right away is gets us back and or under what the original local share was. And gets us fairly close to the utilizing much of the grant, which was $34,000. You get park benches, we get the gravel trail completed. We just don't have anything crossing High Street for option 4 that gets us back to that. So it's largely dependent upon getting the crossing of High Street under this phase is largely dependent on a likely, again, this is an estimate, And as I explained to the mayor and Paula, that these are estimates. If we took bids and you opted for option 4 to maintain costs fairly close to where we were originally, we can do an add alternate for the crossing of High Street and see the bids. The construction pricing we're getting is right now is very aggressive across the board. Obviously, the key indicator for us is oil price, indicative of low in terms of asphalt pricing as well. And the contractor, the gentleman who did phase 1, labor was very economical, did a really good job. Obviously, we'd include him to solicit quotes on this. So I threw a lot at you, but it ranges in options here, trying to get some things that are eligible as opposed to what's not eligible within the phase 2 project. I'll open it up. If you want to see anything else or ask questions related to.
I just have a question, and forgive me.
Go ahead, Dave.
My memory's failing me. Is DMRC handling the local share of these?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they've already paid us for phase 2.
Okay. All right.
Wait, they've already paid you for phase 2? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Mayor?
Yes.
Based upon this original right here.
Well, Rich, what would if we waited to do the crosswalk until phase 3, what are the chances that, that's not going to get worked in there either? I mean, with the grant, I mean, is that going to be something we end up paying for regardless?
No, under the nature works This is Nature Works. The other one is called the Recreational Trail Program, still administered by ODNR, two different
Okay.
contacts within the agency. Dewan Hammonds is the contact for the Recreational Trails Program, which is federal funds. The Nature Works are state funds. The Recreational Trail Program will fund, as long as it's not a significant part of the project, work within the right of way. And so,
Okay.
but obviously we're still competing. It's still an application process. And I believe they did make determination in August. But it's still a competitive process. And Dewan said, given the fact that we have the village has done at least a planning, phase 1, 2, and 3, and have something that they've looked forward to get through here, allow us an opportunity to revise the phase 3 application, depending on what we want to do in phase 2.
I feel like the crosswalk is a very important thing at this point. I mean, if we're taking the trail right to the road, I feel that just personal opinion, I just feel like maybe the crosswalk is a big deal right now. We're taking people
Don't
to
have
the,
funding for it.
but I thought you said that we can work that in if we don't do something else.
Now,
It
not
would
with this
just, it would
grant.
up the local match.
It would. But again, I included the asphalt, all the asphalt in the right of way, as you see in these plans. What I didn't mention is eliminate this.
Right.
This is really not a lot of work. We have to put 2 signs, obviously, with the crosswalk.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're probably only talking about $1,000 worth of work in the right of way.
Exactly. Right.
So we could eliminate the asphalt on this side.
Right.
And at least get this to a point here for a safe crossing of the street to that side.
That would be my concern, is that we take it to high and then we don't put up signs or we don't stripe the road.
Right.
You know, I don't.
Right. And to your point, Scott, so if there was a concept that, because I don't disagree with that at all, then what we still have the option in bid, if we end up with numbers that go beyond 11,338, we can always non-perform something.
Okay.
So that we maintain the local share and that we're not taxing the village, the general fund, with any cost. Because again, my objective of looking at options was to not broach the 11,338.
Right. Not to exceed.
Yeah, so we could bid it with the crosswalk and some pavement here and a couple signs, and I'm not that I'm totally optimistic, but again, I've seen the prices are.
Okay.
I believe we have my engineer's estimate is going to be high.
Okay.
But
if I had my,
that means we're also not utilizing the total grant, but it's still a good project.
Okay.
And we'll get the trail built along the river. This over in here.
Right.
Let's get that done.
Well, is that just resurfacing that trail?
That's gravel. We're not putting asphalt in here.
Right. But you're utilizing the trail that's already there.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, we want to minimize any clearing through there. Otherwise, we've got some environmental issues.
Okay.
And all of this is qualified on making sure that the agency is allowing us. He basically said, let us know what you want to revise. And again, I am presuming this is going to be acceptable to them, since we have a master plan that shows what we're doing here. It connects to the north side. And I think they'll work with us.
Okay.
So that plan is option 4, right?
Yeah, Marty. Yep.
Okay, that's all I'm asking. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Right.
Okay.
Option 4 includes park benches, I call it the fish hook trail, and the gravel trail.
Great.
Yep.
I agree.
My recommendation.
I agree with Marty.
Mm-hmm. As long as we can get signs at the crosswalk.
We can put
Yeah,
up our
so-
own signs if we have to.
Yeah, I mean, that's my only concern. I'm good with that. I just want to make sure that we, like I said, we can either stripe the road or we have signs at the crosswalk, pedestrian signs at the walk.
Send someone out there with a paintbrush.
And just so everybody knows, my notes show that, and if Jenny could verify it the next day or so and let us all know, that DMRC has paid us $11,437.50.
Okay.
I think we sent them a letter like in, I couldn't find my letter, a letter in November or December, so that they were paid it by the first of the year.
Yeah, that's
So we'll get
really
a few
close.
extra bucks for a can of paint and a brush.
Well, whatever it takes, seriously. I mean, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I just feel
Yeah.
if we're gonna take people to High Street, then we need to protect those people crossing
no,
High Street.
Yeah, I
You
can't
know.
disagree.
I'm sorry, Jenny, you started to say something?
I said, I think that 11,437 is right, but I will verify it and let you know. It's real close to that, if
Yeah,
not.
usually I try to make a copy of the check and I don't. I just have the amount written down.
Yeah, I thought it was even referenced in our appropriations and our financial reports.
I knew that I had come up with it. I remember that sheet I passed out about different projects. And it was phase 2. Said the grant was $45,750. The grant amount was $34,312, and DMRC paid $11,437. So I'm sorry, so we had a motion on the floor to accept option 4, correct?
So moved.
Second,
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes,
Matt.
You're muted, Matt.
Oop, we lost Matt. Matt's muted.
I'm back, Matt.
He says
Say
yes.
Okay.
Mayor, that's all I had.
That's enough.
Jeez.
Thank you.
Proud.
Okay, Scott, service and planning.
Planning. What did we do?
We did the Middlefield.
We
lot
did the
split.
Middlefield Bank lot split. The combo or the combination, I shouldn't even say lot split, the combination, lot combination. And by the way, the bank looks fantastic.
Yes.
They did a great job and they did it quickly. That was nice. Everything else we pretty much tabled. We want to wait. We have a few other things to do. We're going to have a special meeting to pass those things or to look at those things. And we've tabled everything until we can see each other in person by the recommendation of our chair. So we have a lot to do once we all get back together. We did have a correspondence. We had a concern about our signs, about the size of our signs and the lighting on our signs. And so we're going to look into we're going to review our legislation on that. The next time we're together, we'll start looking into that. Service, we did a lot, which I thought we were going to do a little today. I'm glad we didn't. We went over the first draft of the wastewater contract with the county, which was pretty extensive. I don't know if any of you've got to see it, but maybe you won't have to read the first draft and you can look at a second draft because the first draft was pretty lengthy. Why didn't we, or is that stalled, Mayor? Is that why we didn't go over any of that today?
I was going to wait for new business.
Oh, okay.
The long and short of it is after we discussed its service, and I had shared it with all of council, so all of council has seen the operations agreement is what we're calling it, not to confuse it with anything else we're doing with
Right.
And we had some concerns about several sections, especially with the county wanting us to continue to work on the needs list over a 6-year period. And there was I think it was on page 3, it had to do with the $1,500 a month that they could, $500 a month that they could spend, not to exceed a certain dollar amount. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me right now. And we just weren't comfortable with some of the language from service. So then when we had our meeting with them, the virtual meeting, they made all kinds of recommendations. And at that point, I'm going to turn it over to John and Michelle because.
Well, let's wait and talk about it in new business. I didn't mean to sidetrack.
Okay.
I didn't mean to blindside.
That'll give John and Michelle a chance because we have
Okay.
another meeting with them in the morning.
Okay. So we also went over, we talked a lot. We had a lot to do. We talked about the Booker Park Trail, which Rich just went over and clarified everything for us, so we can take that off the table. And we went over the powers and duties of the village administrator. There was some discussion about what John needs to bring to council or bring to finance, I'm sorry, to be able to pay, and what he can just take care of without bringing up to finance or up to council. And so we decided, it's in our codified, I can't remember what section it was, that what John's allowed to do, what he's allowed to authorize without taking to finance. We agreed we're following the codified. So what is written, so let it be written, so let it be done. I mean, John's,
Let me butt in here just.
Yes, sir.
We had a village administrator at one time that was authorizing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up owing CT Consultants $140,000, and that was half the reason we went into fiscal watch.
Oh, Ben, I remember.
Bear that in mind.
Oh, no, I know that. And I think that these rules might have been changed after that.
Well,
So-
the auditor gave us a finding when they did the audit on it. They gave us a finding, which is a ding.
So we agreed service, not finance. We agreed at service that we're going to follow the ordinance that has been set for John. So.
Well, I need to see that ordinance.
Okay. Mayor, do you remember the number? Was it,
Here, I got my book right in front of me.
133.02 maybe? 133.02?
Let me get a pencil.
I can't remember what it was now. So in the meantime, we went over the Orchard Street widening. It seems like everything's gonna go well there. Everybody's in line, and we're still advertising for some operators for the plants, even though we're trying, but that's not going real well. So the applications John's had just don't pan out. So I don't think people know what they're in for when they look at these. And that was pretty much it.
Okay, Scott, it's 133.02. And
Yeah.
basically what it says, the short story of it is the village administrator can authorize up to $3,000 without council's approval. Anything over $3,000, it needs to go before council.
Right.
So that things like that have to do with zoning, when we have a site plan review that's $500 or something like that, he can just sign those. It doesn't even have to come before council because the person requiring the site plan that if CT is handling, it's a wash because they're paying for it.
Right.
So that was basically what you said you were going to enforce instead of everything.
Right.
So anything over $3,000 has to come before council,
Yes.
not
That's
just
good.
CP stuff.
Good. I knew about that $3,000.
Okay.
I knew that.
All right. Well, that's what we agreed to stick to. I mean, it's in the ordinance.
It's been that way as long as I've been on council.
Okay. Well, then there should be no way we rack up $145,000 bill if John can only,
No,
we should be able to keep
I'm
track.
not accusing him of that, but that last village administrator did.
Oh, I'm with you, Ben. I hear you.
Well,
Okay, Mayor, I'm done.
Okay. Moving on, Marty, Parks and Shade Tree.
Parks and Shade Tree haven't done a heck of a lot yet. Maybe we'll get more done tomorrow night.
Maybe.
I don't know, it's hard to do anything with shade trees. Most of what we're doing is involved with the school, and there isn't any school. I don't know if they've even passed out sheets for what we were going to have for a program. We'll decide tomorrow night.
Well, I can update you on Shade Tree. It was decided for me, you guys wanted me to call the school, since I have the essays here in my office, that we would review them when we can meet in person. And that if I can email Rebecca from the schools, and she would contact the winner and have them go to Middlefield Bank to pick up their gift card. So the school says that was fine. And so that's where that is at.
Okay, so all we have to do then is go over the contestants and pick a winner.
Correct.
Great.
So hopefully by the June meeting, we can meet.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, I'm up. Cemetery. Cemetery, we got the check from the trust for the flowers and mowing, and the portion of the plow truck that they are paying for this year. That's basically it. Dave is picking up the flowers tomorrow, so the cemetery board will be getting the planning done. Tom Nipper, the mower, had gotten a little behind because of the weather, but he did mow over this past weekend and got it down to a reasonable length, but he will be there this weekend to get it in tip-top shape for Memorial Day. There will not be a parade, but the American Legion is going to do a short service. Mask and social distancing are required. They're just going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, play a couple songs, and do taps and a short speech, and everybody's out of there. So that's basically it. Board of Zoning Appeals, they have a mural that was oversized because it falls under signage, and they are meeting tomorrow night to review that at 5:30 via Zoom. I did see when I was logging in here that we've gotten 4 or 5 letters from business owners and residents about this case, and they sent it to the BZA, and the BZA will need to send all those letters to planning because BZA can't change the rules. Only planning can make recommendations to council for that. So, and that kind of had to do with what Scott said earlier. That's all I've got. Paula, regional planning and safety.
Regional planning, I was at the special council meeting for the appropriation review, so I did not attend that this month. And safety, Chief did a great job covering that.
And that's it? Okay. Dave, finance.
We had a very brief 15-minute finance meeting, just reviewed the reports, legislation, and the 2 bids John got and recommended the one from Nico be moved to council, and that was it.
Okay. Okay, new and other business. John? Can you explain where we're at with the county on the operations agreement?
Yes, we're miles apart right now. And somebody else can we speak in, but right now we're miles apart. They want us to escrow monies and everything else for 5 to 10 years. And it's monies that we don't even have yet and would severely hinder any projects that we would do, escrowing those monies. So I think we've got a ways to go yet before we can even agree to any of that. My opinion, Michelle might have a different take, but I'm not sure on that. But we went back and forth a couple times. But Gene has some plans in there, and the talk of 10 years, and they're just totally ignoring that we have that vote in November. And I don't think that's something that we should shoulder that much of a responsibility. Say that vote would go south on us, and we don't get the outcome we want. There's no way we could pay what they're requesting to put in escrow account and not spend.
My take is essentially the same as John's. We have a Zoom meeting with the county tomorrow with Jean Tia and Dave Garnier. So we'll update you at the service committee meeting.
Does council have any thoughts on this? My thoughts are is to stop the negotiations on the operations agreement and pick up full force on the negotiations on the merger. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mayor.
All you
Yes,
got
I
is
agree.
my opinion on the thing.
You know what? We're just gonna have to muscle through this right now, with this paying to have the plants run, and we can do it. We can do it. We'll just fight through it. And I think you guys just, go full bore at the negotiations. And
Yeah, because I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think John and Michelle have a good handle on what's going on now. And if they're just really, for the lack of a better word, if they're just pulling our chain, John's right. We don't know how November is going to go, and we don't want to.
Exactly.
We don't want to tie ourselves up that way. That's crazy.
And I may be interpreting, all of you had a chance to read what they originally put out. And then when they decided after our last Zoom meeting, for us to put money in escrow every month, well, by the time we would pay them that little over $18,000 a month, plus put money in escrow, we're probably paying what we're paying in Virelink.
Right.
Or it could be more.
Yeah. I think you're right, Mayor. I agree with you. That's my opinion also.
Well, my opinion is that I was told that the county is going to have to hire operators and a maintenance person. If they can do it, we can do it. My opinion.
Well, we still are advertising.
For what it's worth, but I have to.
I'm
My
sorry.
opinion might not be worth a penny, but that's it.
Well, we've still been advertising. It's just that no one's responding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we're at. Okay. That was the gist of it. Okay.
Well, does anybody else want to weigh in on that? Paula?
I agree that based on what they had written for the operations, that was
brutal.
unreal. We can't work with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think terminating that at this point and concentrating on the renegotiation is what we need to do, and not have two things going on at once.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion for that or anything?
No, we don't just do it.
No, we just need to drop the one.
You haven't got to agree to it.
Right.
Dave, feelings?
Oh, I agree. We need to go back to the table with the county.
Okay.
Well,
there you go, Mayor.
On the merger, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to make sure we're specific so nobody gets confused.
Yes,
Yeah. Well, and
Yes.
it seems like we're all on the same page. So,
yep.
Well, we're not all on the same page because I wouldn't even negotiate with the county.
well, I know. But Ben, if we could hire somebody, we've been running. I mean, we've tried for months. We've been running the ad.
Let's keep it going.
Yeah, we will.
You're not gonna get a decent deal out of the county, I can tell you that. You will not ever get a decent deal out of them.
Oh, that's your opinion, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Definitely not on the operations. On a merger, I think we could, but, okay. Is there any other new business? Okay, remind everybody that the June council meeting, which is the 16th, if I'm looking at my calendar right, meeting at 6:15 for the public hearing for the budget. Remind all the planning people that your packets for the house plans for the two properties on Canada Road are in your box. The chair did want me to ask if we could meet in person for that meeting because it's easier to go over the plans when we can have them spread out. I mean, there'd be time enough to let everybody, I mean, we're still going to be limited to 10 people, but we can still spread out with us being there and one of the property owners from each property if they want to attend.
When were we going to do that, Linda?
That is the
26th
26th at 6:30.
26th. Yeah. Okay.
I'm fine with meeting in person.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, we're going to have to mask up because that's what's on the door. So,
Yeah. Okay.
Paula, do you think the property owners will have a problem with that?
I don't think so. I think having one representative there is fine. Yes.
Michelle, now are we still going to have to Zoom this? Or
Well, yeah, we still have to live stream it because we can't let everybody in. It has to be available to the public. So we're just gonna have to figure out how to do it. So I'll figure out how to do it.
that a girl?
Michelle, this is one time. I was going to wait until anything else that can properly come before the council. But Michelle, you are doing a tremendous job for us, keeping us on track and managing our web access. It's tremendous.
Mhm.
I really appreciate what you've done.
Yep.
Thank
you
you.
really are. That's kudos. Good job,
Well,
Paula.
It's important to keep you guys legal too.
And you do that.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think that I have nothing else. Does anybody else have anything?
No.
Mhm.
No,
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
second,
Dave,
Yes.
Marty,
yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
And that was at 7:53.
Ah.
Wow.
Wow.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Hey.
Thank you.
Marty and Scott, I'll see you tomorrow.